So I'm a person who grew up with clinical OCD and depression. I was diagnosed at a super young age. I was 7 or 8, and I thought that it was something that needed to be eradicated from my body or my mind, like it was some kind of psychological disease or something. But at this point in my life, in my early 30s, I understand that it is not at all necessarily a mental illness. It's something that can be framed as simply a different wiring, a different set of skills or lenses. And that's why today I want to show you the OCD depression toolset. So with that, there are like 3 heads to the snake: panic attacks and hypersensitivity, intrusive thoughts, and tics. Tics are, of course, the one I think most people kind of attach to obsessive compulsive disorder, or if someone is like
being OCD,
they're like, being hyper organizational or something, which is really just a good habit to get into. We'll get into all of that. So the tool set begins with number 1, panic attacks and hypersensitivity. Panic attacks are very challenging. They can really make a person feel like absolutely everything is going wrong, everything has already gone wrong, and it will only continue to nosedive into absolute ruin. And there's nothing that can be done about it, and it's too late. A panic attack can, of course, be started or galvanized by any old thing in your day. You can wake up and feel one coming on. You can be in a work meeting or something if you're working, at the end of your day, maybe before bed, whenever really. I also want to preface that I am firmly drawing from my own experience, and my own experiences in the past 30 years of my life. So if you don't identify with any of this, that's fine. This is an honest telling about someone who from a very, very early age struggled with the very real challenges of obsessive compulsive disorder and clinical depression. Anyway, in terms of panic attacks and hypersensitivity, I could tell that from a very early age, I was able to read the room pretty easily, as well as kind of meet someone exactly where they're at, where you can kind of get the spiritual or social emotional tone of someone right off the bat, maybe even from across the room, or engaging in just a little bit of dialogue with them. You can have an honest understanding of where they might be. A lot of that, almost 10 out of 10 times, is followed up by a sense of compassion. So with this first subset in the tool set of OCD and depression, empathy is a big one there. A heightened sense of empathy for others. In terms of hypersensitivity, it's not about being like super sensitive to the external world or super sensitive to your environment or something like this, where you stub your toe and your ruins your day. It's more so a hypersensitivity to the feelings and needs and tones of other people, and the tone, the vibe that is set by a group of people or by an idea that is expressed. It's a hypersensitivity to these things that comes with growing up with obsessive compulsive disorder and clinical depression. A very early OCD diagnosis helped me become a much more compassionate and empathy-driven communicator. So number 2 in the tool set, we have intrusive thoughts. Intrusive thoughts were much more prominent during adolescence, especially when trying to figure out my own sexuality. I consistently thought I was doing it wrong, even as a person who identifies as heteronormative male. Even with that, I thought so consistently that I was somehow like doing or thinking as an adolescent, thinking about sexuality in the wrong way. And intrusive thoughts were absolutely nonstop. Like it was just a fucking zombie horde of intrusive thoughts, nonstop. My folks had me on medications like Lexapro and Zoloft and things that, would work. There was a list of them, but sometimes there would be side effects like diarrhea or like a general like mental glaze. But the prescription medications helped really turn down the volume of those intrusive thoughts so I could more, manage my day and just kind of my general headspace like a, kind of like a normal person without having to consistently process and fight this onslaught of very intrusive thoughts, kind of breaking that mental barrier, that mental threshold that we all have. My follow-up with the intrusive thought category in the tool set is a heightened sense of creativity, or a consistently encouraged sense of creativity, because not all of those intrusive thoughts are bad. You can have a very encouraging intrusive thought. You can be doing something totally mundane, again, like at your job, or on the bus, or in the car, or waking up in the morning, or any fucking time. You can have this infusion of super creative drive in regards to any aspect of your life that you genuinely care about, or that you're genuinely trying to work on. For me, a lot of that intrusive creativity therein gets funneled into the music that I produce.
Got no solution for you, I just need to fucking breathe. I'ma lean into the wind, got decision fatigue. I don't care what happens next, I'll give way to gravity.
And the music I make has been a big platform for expressing how I fucking feel in regards to being someone with OCD, depression, and potential ADHD. More on that a little later. Creativity really is a huge piece in the tool set for OCD and depression. So, number 3, tics. Part of how my parents were able to diagnose me so early, again I was like 7 or 8, is because of the physical tics I had. The first one, then the most common one, was consistently washing hands, going to shut the bathroom light off as I leave the bathroom, but then feeling like I touched something that was there on the bathroom light and needing to go wash my hands again. And this maybe happened like 5 times in a row, right? The clothing I would wear, I had to always wear baggy shorts that went past my knees, or socks that were a particular height, or high top shoes, or if I wasn't wearing a shirt that went past my waist, then I felt like I looked like a girl or something, as like a 10-year-old boy. Really, really obsessing over how clothing kind of looked on my body. But as you could imagine, over the years, I was able to find ways to subvert a lot of these tics, largely with the help of talk therapy and prescription medication. Talk therapy is super important. I haven't done it really since I was like 18, and I would absolutely love to do it again if our healthcare system wasn't completely Anyway, the tics were tough for like kind of the first 5 years. In terms of like hand washing, I developed kind of my own little thing of taking my hand and like smearing it on the floor wherever I was and like licking my hand. If I'm gonna get sick or something from this, let it happen. Granted, that wasn't something I would do in like bathrooms or anything. It was just, something that admittedly I probably only did a few times, but that was more or less a testament to breaking through that threshold and really getting over that tick. Today, I still have tics, I think, but they're not really as physical as they are psychological, as they are mental, and much of that could be categorized under intrusive thoughts, I think. For instance, I've never been a super career-oriented person, and in the past few years of my life, especially during the lockdown, I was trying to make big moves for myself. I gave grad school a shot. That didn't work out. I gave personal training a shot and realized how completely underpaid a lot of personal trainers are, and I completely burnt out socially with that one. Anyway, at this point, imposter syndrome is huge, and that kind of comes with its own like artillery of bullshit in the way of intrusive thoughts and whatnot. So as I navigate forward in trying to break into, you know, whichever industry I'm targeting, there is a consistent pull that says that's not going to work. You just say fuck it all to everything in your life, and or I'm not doing things right, and or I could be doing things better, and or your peers can see how much you're struggling and they're looking down on you for it. You know, all of these things, all of these voices that just aren't real, but they build up in kind of in your subconscious, and they kind of chip away at your spirit, you know, throughout the week, and that is what leads me now to panic attacks here and there. So again, this all comes from my own experience. This is the OCD and Depression toolset as I have built it for myself. Panic attacks and hypersensitivity, intrusive thoughts, tics. All three of these things leading to a heightened sense of empathy, compassion for others, compassion in what you do, compassion in your drive in life, creativity, and communication with others.